Hey everybody, and welcome to my garden. My name is Deidre. I live in Tampa Bay, Florida. I garden in a zone 9B here in my suburban foodscape garden, and I thought that it'd be pretty cool to just start videoing my progress of my own garden for my own benefit and bring you along to show you kind of what I'm doing, my thought process behind things, what's going well, what's not going well, things I'm learning, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll start the first video, kind of a tour of my vegetable bed. So this is going to be a raw video because you will see I have lots of stuff going on that is not the prettiest, but you know what, that's gardening, and I figured I would just show everyone the good and the bad that comes with it. And living in Central Florida, we did get hit with a frost, well, a freeze. It was 29 degrees here a few or 2 weekends ago, and so a lot of stuff looks like that. But you know what? That's fine, and it'll come back. So here's the entrance to my garden. I repurposed these bed rails for my little garden gate, and originally it was to keep the dogs out, but I liked it so much that I kept it that way, and I have yet to make a gate for it, but it is what it is. So here I have a pigeon pea. It was beautiful until the frost. I was able to harvest most of the peas off of it, so I'll have a good little meal or two out of that, and then I have seeds for next year. That is my papaya tree, which you'll notice I cut it off last year because it was falling over, but it has the best fruit ever. So I wanted to save it, and it branched this year, 3 branches, and I've gotten, I don't know, probably 50 pounds of papaya from it this year. It's just a great producer that I don't want to take it down. So hey, you do what you do. So yeah, coming in here, everything, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of a mess. It's winter, but it is what it is. And yeah, so my key lime trees have Christmas lights on them, but this key lime tree and the one over there I grew from seed, and this is the second year of producing fruit for me, which is amazing because it's only, this year will be 4 years old, and it started producing fruit at like 2.5, almost 3 years old, which is unheard of for key lime trees grown from seed. So yeah, it's actually a seed I grew from a tree that I had in our childhood garden, so that's pretty cool. In the middle, my 2 trellises really don't have much going on because, like I said, it's winter, but I have my rosemary here. I have a little stand of calendula. I've also seeded in dill. I love dill, and I have dill in a lot of the garden, so that's starting to come up. Also, I have, let's see, some flowers for the new year. They should come up in the spring, but they're growing now. I have white dill and dara growing in this area. There is mustard greens kind of scattered about, and then on this side I have some more dill growing. These are bachelor buttons. I am trying to mix a lot of flowers in with my spring garden, so those I sowed in the winter here. I have peas scattered about my garden, so in the spring they'll really take off and hopefully grow up some of the trellises that I have. Yeah, so you notice I have extension cords because they were hooked to my heat lamps for the freeze, and I'm just not gonna move them because it will probably freeze again. Along the border of this, I have carrots, which they're still really small, but in the spring when we take off with the heat of the Florida weather, I will plant a vining crop there to shade out the carrots and protect them kind of from some of our harsh heat we have here. That's the plan anyway. Over here, let's see, I have more peas starting to come up. See, I just have random mustard greens growing everywhere. More bachelor buttons growing. There's probably little volunteer seedlings everywhere because that's just what happens when you let things go to seed. More peas. And there's no shortage of weeds in my garden. People ask me what I do for weeds, and the answer is I pluck them out because there's nothing you can do. I don't use herbicides or pesticides, so I manage everything organically and mechanically with my hands. So this is the window to our dining room / living room, and this kind of inspired me because this is sweet alyssum. So alyssum is an amazing plant for our native pollinators, and not just any pollinators, but the ones that are super, super tiny. So those little tiny flowers, each of these is a group of flowers. And right now I don't see any on it, but it's hard to see them. You'll have the parasitoid wasps that are beneficial and help keep down like the bad like worms and caterpillars that you don't want eating all your plants. Those are great to have scattered around your garden because that is a source of food for them because the plants are so tiny, or the flowers are so tiny. So my thought was, because the eave of the house kind of blocks some of the rain, so it stays drier here, is I'm going to be planting yarrow and more sweet alyssum along this side because it's kind of shady at some points of the day, and so it's hit or miss what actually grows here. So I figured a nice swath of flowers would be awesome, and plus to look outside and see that is always good. I'm also going to incorporate some artichokes here because I have some in another drier bed in another area of my yard, and it's doing really well. This wagon, it is served as my like plant nursery, I swear. So like I will grow seedlings, and when they're really tiny, I will just chock them full in here. So these are all rosemary clippings, and look how good they're doing. There's some yarrow here and there. So yeah, I've done this, and I haven't even changed the soil out. Like, I want to say maybe once I topped it off, but it's been the same soil because the seedlings aren't using much of it. I just take the seedlings I want out of it, and then whatever else I'm propagating or growing from seed, I'll put in there. I've done tomatoes, rosemary, passion vines, I've done goldenrod, all in the same soil. So, and it's very shallow and it stays warm because it's metal, so that works. Don't mind, hey, my shadow, don't mind the hose. Like I said, my garden's practical, so it might have some pretty things going on, but I'm a busy person, so I'm gonna leave out the hose. Anyways, so sorry about the shadow. This bed has mainly this big giant red mustard, which is amazing. I have a hard time eating it because it's so pretty, but it is delicious. I am about to harvest it. I have about 6 or 7 plants in there, but they're cut and come again, so as soon as I harvest it, it'll grow more. Let's see, here we have some not so pretty cabbage plants. I can always tell cabbage is a very big feeder, of nutrients on nutrients, and I can tell which beds I'm lacking in because these cabbages were planted the same time as these. And this bed is by far the most aesthetically pleasing because, yeah, so something is going on. But you know what? This one also has aphids, and I'm not going to pull it out because right now in winter, I don't have those beneficial insects like in an abundance as I do in any other time of the year. So if I take that out, they're just going to move somewhere else. So I'm going to leave that, and that's just serving as a trap crop for the aphids, because to be honest, I've never had a plant die from aphids, and if I lose one cabbage plant because of it, so be it. It is what it is. I do have some salad greens, like really, really tiny seedlings coming up here. Yeah, some rutabagas. That's new for me this year. If it works, it works. If not, it could be the soil, because like I said, this bed probably needs a good amendment of compost in the spring. I have a cabbage plant here. I dug this one up and then I repotted it, so it looks a little sad. But yes, here is the bed that I'm most proud of. Just look how beautiful it is. So I have pak choi, which this has been growing since September, I want to say. I started succession planting these. I'm going to harvest them soon, and I'm going to leave one or two to go to seed because I loved that so much. We have cabbage. I want to say this is Copenhagen. We have my red cabbage is starting to head up. Oh, it's so cute. Sorry about oh, it's so pretty. I grew all of these from seed. Let's see, we have our turnip greens growing here. They're getting nice roots on them. Sorry, the sun. I'm in the middle of the day. I gotta do this when I can. Yeah. And then this is one of my favorite spinach alternatives that I have discovered. It's tatsoi, and I bought it off of a girl. Actually, she lives here in Florida too. She's Jera's garden. She grew it and sold the seeds, but it tastes just like spinach. It's grown really well in our cold days. It never got any frost damage. It started growing in, I want to say, October. Yeah, and it, like I said, it just performs so well, and it's so pretty. Like, it's just so green. And I do have some plants scattered along here as well. Over here, this trellis was completely covered all the way across the vine, or the sides over there where that honeysuckle is, all the way into my Confederate jasmine in the front, full of my loofah, which I think I got about 80 loofah from just like 3 plants this year. So I don't know if I'll be growing that again next year. I have loofahs coming out the wazoo. This is just where I'm overwintering my peppers. There's bell peppers, banana peppers, and jalapenos. Oh look, there's actually banana pepper. I put them all here because that way I have one heat lamp, and the nights that it froze, I wasn't all around my garden just covering everything. I try to be as hands-off as possible. So yeah, that's the peppers. I have this little patch of yarrow here. It kind of was taking over. It kind of went away over there. It might have gotten too wet for a while, but it's still here, and in the spring it produces huge amounts of white, my shadow, sorry, blooms that are medicinal. I like to use them in tea a lot. And then over here, this whole length of this fence line, I plan on changing things up this spring, and it's going to be a huge mass of flowers, a mixed border of flowers, and I'm going to be putting more yarrow, more alyssum. A lot of my squash plants are going to go along here because they can be growing along the ground mixing with the flowers. I've had a lot of issues with nutsedge in that area, which is, let me show you this. This is nutsedge, and it doesn't go away no matter what you do. So if I plant flowers over there, I'm going to just work with my problem instead of against it, and I will just disguise it under masses of flowers. This is my pea trellis, which got caught in the cold snap, but I'm not going to take it out just yet because I do have some peas coming up. Whether they make it or not, we'll see, but I think there's better ways to use this square footage since this is a small garden, but it'll work. And if you'll notice, this whole area that I'm turning into the flower squash border, I've gathered leaves from my neighbor. All of this actually is from one neighbor. I was able to mulch this 3 foot, 2.5 foot section by, I think, 6, 12, 18, 24 foot section with just leaves. And if anyone knows me, they will know that leaves I do not get rid of. I save all of the leaves. I will pick up leaves off the side of the road from people's yards. I'm kind of crazy about it, but you can't beat nature's free mulch, and it just will break down eventually. I will come along and cover this in compost for the spring, but for now it's just gonna sit there, harbor any beneficial insect eggs that do live in the leaf litter, and it will just kind of decompose in place, and that's what I love. Here is a little stand of carrots. Something came along and ate all of the leaves off of all of these carrots, so I don't know what happened. There's one random pea plant in here. Oh, look, that's a calendula, or I'm sorry, oh my goodness, that is a chamomile flower plant starting. Good. I was hoping some would self-seed. But yeah, so that is my garden. Like I said, 1 key lime. I have 2 key limes. That one has yet to produce, but we shall see in the new year. There's some more peas along there. But yeah. Well, there you have it. I thank you for joining me in my garden tour in my suburban Central Florida garden. There's lots more to see. I have a lot of vegetables scattered around my foodscape here at our home. And yeah, so subscribe if you want, follow along. I'll be posting more videos as I can, and just to share the journey. Thanks, bye.